For those who say you cannot play good FPS games on Switch, this list might hurt a little. Here are the 15 best FPS games you can play on Nintendo Switch. Doom Eternal offers an incredibly dense action experience on Switch as one of the peaks of the modern shooter genre. The combat system, which forces constant movement and aggressive play, turns the player from someone who hides into a true hunter. The need to use glory kills for health, the flamethrower for armor, and the chainsaw for ammo turns combat into a high-tempo dance of death that demands not only reflexes, but also resource management. Mechanics like dashing, double jumping, and launching yourself toward enemies with the hook on the super shotgun turn the battlefield into an arena that constantly moves both horizontally and vertically. While tearing apart the armies of hell, the game largely preserves its savage atmosphere and merciless impact feel even on Switch. Combined with motion controls, this loop delivers a completely adrenaline-focused experience that does not allow even a single second of hesitation. Crysis Remastered Trilogy is one of the packages that still stands out in the Switch library years later, with its technical strength and gameplay freedom. The nanosuit system at the heart of the series does not lock combat into a single path, letting you switch between stealth, armor, speed, and strength. In the wide jungle areas of the first game, you can either silently infiltrate enemy camps or switch to armor mode and directly cause chaos. In the sequels, this freedom combines with ruined city streets and more concentrated combat areas. Weapon customization options, different approach paths, and the series' still powerful visual atmosphere prevent the trilogy from being just a nostalgic package. This is exactly where what makes Crysis special lies. It offers a flexible and visually impressive first-person experience that asks the player in every fight, how do you want to play? Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus, is one of the most ambitious and story-driven shooter games playable on the console with its alternative history narrative. Fitting a full-fledged, big-budget experience into the palms of your hands is impressive on its own, but the game's real strength lies in carrying B.J. Blazkowicz's rage directly into the center of the combat. Options like using different weapons in both hands, progressing with stealth, or bursting straight through the door give every section a different tempo. Collecting armor pieces, weapon upgrades, and brutal close-range attacks encourage constant movement on the battlefield. With its cinematic storytelling, harsh character moments, and heavy impact feel, Wolfenstein II is not just a game where you clear out enemies. It offers a strong, savage, and extremely satisfying action experience on the single-player story side. Metroid Prime Remastered brings an old legend into the modern age, not just by increasing the resolution, but by completely renewing its visual world from top to bottom. Talon 4's rainy forests, ancient ruins, icy regions, and abandoned laboratories now look much more detailed and atmospheric. But what makes this game special is not only the renewed graphics, it is the feeling of exploring the world through Samus's visor. Scanning the environment to gather information about enemies, ruins, technologies, and the planet's past turns every area into a small piece of mystery. While modern control options make the game more comfortable to play, the original sense of loneliness, heavy pace, and gradually opening map structure are preserved. Weapon effects, armor reflections, and environmental details still look impressive on Switch. Standing out with exploration, atmosphere, and a sense of curiosity more than fast action, it is one of the most special Switch games that uses the first-person perspective not only for combat, but to understand the world. Dying! What puts Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition on this list is not just the fact that it lets you use weapons from a first-person camera. It is that it lets you choose how you want to solve combat encounters. When entering a mission in Night City, you can either burst through the door with heavy weapons, or you can hack cameras, enemy implants, and security systems to turn the situation in your favor before even firing a bullet. Thanks to melee combat, cyberware, smart weapons, and different character development paths, every fight takes shape a little according to the character you have built. In the Switch 2 version, gyroscopic aiming, motion controls, touchscreen support, and Joy-Con 2 mouse support also add extra flexibility to this gameplay. On top of that, the Spy Story and Dogtown area introduced with the Phantom Liberty expansion make the package even stronger. That is why Cyberpunk 2077 stands out on this list not only as a large-scale open world, but as a strong option that successfully combines different gameplay styles through a first-person camera.
Give up, damn you!
Bulletstorm, which rewards creative and savage ways of killing enemies, offers a unique kind of absurdity on a portable console. Unlike classic shooter games, simply shooting is not enough. Pulling enemies into close range with the energy leash, kicking them into cacti or electrical panels, forms the backbone of the game's skill shot system. Every crazy combo you perform earns points to upgrade weapons. The visuals and frame rate on the console are quite stable for a game filled with this many explosions. The ability to play with a special character option adds extra humor to the game. With colorful map designs and exaggerated weapon options, it is a perfect, incredibly dynamic adventure for players looking for pure fun. Warhammer 40,000 Boltgun is a nostalgic-looking modern destruction simulation that combines the dark and merciless atmosphere of the universe with the boomer shooter spirit of the 90s. While controlling a massive armored space marine, you feel the weight of the character with every step, and the exaggerated brutality of the Warhammer universe in every fight. The iconic Boltgun's punchy sound, bullets that tear enemies apart, and bloody melee attacks with the chainsword constantly keep the impact feeling alive. When pixel-style enemies, bloody effects, and dark three-dimensional environments come together, the game looks like it came straight out of the old Doom era, but strengthened with today's tempo. Thanks to dash, jumping, and battlefields that force you to keep moving constantly, the pace never drops. Without drowning you in long dialogues or complex systems, it offers a pure, loud, and extremely satisfying action experience focused directly on cleansing every heretic that appears in front of you. Borderlands Legendary Collection offers a massive Pandora archive on Switch by bringing together the first 3 games of the series that popularized the looter-shooter genre in a single package. In this series, the real pleasure of combat does not come only from clearing out enemies, but from every new weapon that comes out of a chest, making you think, is this one even crazier? Exploding bullets, rifles that deal elemental damage, pistols with strange stats, and skill trees that change depending on character classes give every player room to build a different playstyle. Thanks to its comic book-like visual style and constantly sarcastic, absurd humor, Borderlands immediately stands apart from other shooter games. While gyroscope-supported aiming offers an extra option for precise shots, the co-op structure played with friends makes this chaotic adventure, stretching from deserts to space bases, much more fun. Mouse for Hire is one of the most unusual games on this list because it combines the classic cartoon aesthetic of the 1930s with hard-hitting and fast-paced first-person action. While controlling a private detective named Jack Pepper, you fight crime organizations in the dark streets of Mouseburg, follow clues, and get pulled into cases with a noir atmosphere. Tommy guns, explosives, melee attacks, and different power-ups keep the old-school shooter tempo constantly alive. The game's black and white rubber hose animation style makes every firefight feel less like a normal FPS scene and more like an old cartoon that has gone completely out of control. When the detective theme, fast action, and unique art direction come together, it becomes one of the games that presents the classic shooter formula in the most different way on Switch 2. Mullet MadJack is an incredibly fast first-person action game that combines the over-the-top anime aesthetic of the 90s with a roguelite structure. Here, you have to constantly push forward to survive, because you need to extend your time by killing enemies, performing finishers, or using the drinks around the environment. In a game that takes the speed of classic old-school shooters and turns it into a much more ruthless and reflex-focused formula, the weapon and ability upgrades chosen between floors make every run feel a little different. Kicking through doors in narrow corridors, tearing apart robot enemies, and flowing into the next room without ever stopping constantly keep the rhythm of the game high. Thanks to its neon color palette, high-tempo music, and VHS anime vibe, Mullet MadJack offers a pure and energetic action experience that leans more on mechanical mastery than story.
Knockout!
Quake II is an exemplary restoration that brings one of the cornerstones of the first-person shooter genre back into the spotlight for modern players. While the renewed version preserves the game's dark science fiction atmosphere, mechanical enemies, and heavy weapon feel, it makes the controls much more comfortable on console. Gyroscopic aiming support offers a nice option, especially for players who want extra precision in fast combat encounters. Even though the lighting, shadows, and textures have been reworked with modern touches, the cold, metallic, and threatening mood of the Strogg base is still exactly where it should be. Alongside the original campaign, there is a very content-rich package with the expansion packs, Quake II 64, and the new Call of the Machine episodes. Thanks to its complex corridor structure, secret areas, enemy variety, and the punchy impact feel of its weapons, Quake II clearly shows why old-school shooter design is still effective today. What makes Turbo Overkill special is not just that it makes the classic retro shooter formula faster, it turns movement itself into a weapon. Sliding through enemies with the chainsaw coming out of Johnny Turbo's leg, wall running, changing direction in the air, and diving back into the combat area with a grappling hook constantly keep the game's tempo high. Cyberpunk streets and neon-covered arenas work like a massive playground for this chaotic movement system. From dual pistols to rocket launchers, from hidden arm rockets to chainsaw attacks, every weapon and ability offers a different way to tear through enemy hordes. If you love the old-school spirit of Doom and Quake, Turbo Overkill takes that formula to a more acrobatic, more savage, and much more uncontrolled level. Severed Steel is a stylish first-person shooter that feels like the most dynamic scenes of action cinema, standing out with acrobatics and destructible environment details. There is no reloading here. Instead, you need to grab enemies' weapons and keep fighting. Running on walls, gliding through the air, sliding forward, or shooting in slow motion creates the core rhythm of the game. Thanks to its voxel-based destruction system, you can tear through walls and floors to open new paths for yourself. The limitation of controlling a one-armed character does not restrict the gameplay. Instead, it forces you to be more creative. Accompanied by electronic music, it offers a very different experience that is completely based on reflexes, pumps adrenaline, and easily stands apart from the other games on the list. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond takes Samus Aran to the mysterious planet Vuros after years of waiting. While the series' iconic first-person exploration, scanning, and puzzle structure is preserved, the experience becomes much stronger technically with the Switch 2 edition. Players can play with 4K 60 FPS HDR in quality mode or 1080p 120 FPS HDR in performance mode. Vuros' ancient ruins, alien lifeforms, and atmospheric environmental design bring the feeling of exploration to the forefront in a way that fits the spirit of the series. Samus's new psychic abilities add a fresh layer to the game in both environmental puzzles and moments of progression. Joy-Con 2 mouse control support also makes aiming feel more precise, modernizing the combat. Preserving the classic Metroid Prime formula and carrying it into a smoother, sharper, and more visually impressive structure, Beyond is one of the most striking FPS adventures of the series on Switch 2. Metro Redux offers two dark and intensely atmospheric games set in the post-apocalyptic Moscow metro in a single package. Bringing together Metro 2033 Redux and Metro Last Light Redux, this collection delivers a largely stable experience on Nintendo Switch with a target 30 FPS performance. The claustrophobic atmosphere in the narrow tunnels, limited ammunition use, and the constant feeling of staying alert strongly convey the tension of survival. The heavy and mechanical structure of the weapons, gas mask filter management, and the necessity of carefully spending resources add a more tactical tempo to the gameplay. Thanks to impressive lighting, texture quality, and atmospheric use for the Switch hardware, the game looks quite strong even when played in handheld mode. For those looking for a slower-paced FPS that progresses with darker, story-driven stealth and survival elements instead of fast and chaotic arenas like Doom, Metro Redux is one of the strongest options on this console. That was it for the list. What is your favorite Switch FPS game? Like and subscribe!